Welcome to the Creative Visionaries Podcast. My name is Tori Barker, a digital marketing specialist, business owner, mom, and you guessed it, a creative visionary. This podcast is about inspiring business owners, building connections, sharing success stories, and motivating others. Join me on this journey as we tap into your true potential and unleash your inner visionary. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us again on the Creative Visionaries Podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest who's going to share some insight and some knowledge on the AI-based content marketing side of things, Connor Snyder. Connor is the co-founder of Storyy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Tori, thanks for having me. I'm really grateful to be here with you.
So tell us a little bit more about you and your business and how you got into this world of marketing.
Yeah, so I am the co-founder of Storyy. We're a content team in your pocket. So we basically help people create custom content, which is interesting with all of this AI generative stuff going on because it's kind of fashionable right now to just like want to click a button and have all this content created. But what I've seen is that it's kind of this like really basic supply and demand problem. It's as there's this increasing supply of computer generated content, I think that there is a premium to be had for stuff that's custom and really real and authentic. And so the balancing act I think that creators have, and what we try to help them do, is how do you use AI and some of these powerful tools to help you be a better creator while also really maintaining that unique brand and authenticity. And so that's what we're doing with Storyy is trying to ride that line so that creators can really succeed. And for me, it all kind of started when I was in high school. I was getting on Facebook right after they opened it out from colleges, so like anyone could get on. And, me and my friends would all be making dumb Facebook groups and, sharing those really emo Facebook statuses that everyone was doing back then. And I remember one day my parents, they walked in when I was on the computer and they're like, listen, Connor, you got to stop wasting time on Facebook. You're never going to have a job making money messing around on social media. And, here we are today making content for social media. And so, it's been an interesting journey to kind of go from back when, it was all just text-based, AIM status kind of style with social media. And now there's just this really strong focus on video and content.
Well, what I love about what you're doing at Storyy is not only that you're generating content that's unique and leveraging technology through AI, but you're putting it all together. So you don't have just one side of it, because there's a lot, people will jump on a bandwagon, right? Like AI is the big thing right now. Like, let's do AI, we're going to make all our content with this AI platform, whatever it might be. But then you just become a wave like in the pool and you don't get noticed because everything looks the same. And so you have to really kind of disrupt that, leverage the technology, but still be authentic at the same time. So I'd love to hear how you weave those two pieces together with the creating stuff that's unique, but also leveraging the AI part of it.
Yeah. So we have a team of about 100 content creators, human video editors, human copywriters. And it's interesting because we use AI throughout all places in the business. We think it's not something to be feared. It's something that we should be augmenting what we're doing. But you're 100% right. Like if everyone's has endless access to create endless amount of content, what ends up happening is the quality of that content radically starts decreasing, right? Yeah. Because not everyone's a great marketer, because it's very easy to go and type something into Chat GPT and have it spit out something, right? But the quality of the output is very dependent on the quality of the input, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. And so what we as marketers or as entrepreneurs who are really trying to get a message to the right people now have to do is we have to spend more time cutting through the crap. Like the need to get more attention and also create something of value drastically increases. And so how do you stand out in an ocean of generated content? You have to lean more into personal branding. Like personal branding's been the buzz. It's the thing that everyone's kind of got top of mind, this whole idea of influencer marketing. you've got to learn how to build inside of your business influencers. You've got to learn how to like find the people that you can bring up that can help bring in that influence, because that's ultimately going to be the thing that sets you apart from the endless amount of automated WordPress blogs, right? Like
Yeah.
you've got to have a personal relationship with your audience that a AI cannot replicate. And
Right.
I think that's why video is so important.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, AI can generate the content, but you have to be kind of the smarter person on the back end side. Like, let's not just put stuff out to put stuff out. You have to think as a marketer strategically, what's your consumer asking? What are those questions that they want to hear? And how do you answer those questions in
Mhm.
a unique way? And, make sure that you're meeting your audience where they're at.
Absolutely. Like the strategy part of it is so under undervalued almost. Like people are like, oh, I can have this AI go do all this stuff, but you spend 10 minutes on Chat GPT and it is absolutely impressive. It is absolutely game changing. I'm definitely not discounting that. But unless someone's thinking intentionally about how you're going to apply that capability,
Right.
it's like having like a really, really nice sports car and then just driving it through the neighborhood where the speed limit's 15 miles an hour,
For
right? Like
sure. For sure.
you have to have the capability to go implement it.
So I was on a conversation recently where we were talking about API and the technology. So I'm curious what your input is on the difference between the Chat GPT and Jasper,
Mhm.
those two AI platforms. What's the difference, or what do you see for those two?
Yeah, so my understanding is, is they're built on OpenAI's same backend kind of system. They're using different language models for some of the tools. And I've worked in like data companies before where their main business was selling data. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these data companies really are getting their data from like the same big four data providers. There's some smaller ones that supplement it, but like the big main data providers that have most of the data, there's only a handful of them. And really, when you look at different data companies, it's often what they're doing is they're taking that big pool of data and then developing systems to make some sort of actionable thing a user can do in their platform that's relative to the user's job to be done. And I see AI kind of going a similar direction. I think we're going to have a couple of these big companies that have these big language models of how AI can be used, and they'll have kind of competing ways of what one could be better for certain things than others. And then there's going to be a whole wave of companies that build kind of crafted experiences on top of these AI tools that are very specific to jobs to be done. And like that's kind of what we're doing with Story is we think there's going to be more companies that have these AI capabilities. How do we take their APIs? How do we take these models and apply them specifically to the roles of content creators? Like
Right.
what are the ways that we can really prescribe application of these tools to content creators? Because I think like Chat GPT and Jasper, the difference between the two in my mind is Chat GPT is kind of like whatever you want to ask it, ask it. It's like a Google search for AI. It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And Jasper's a little more prescriptive. Jasper has this idea of recipes, and it's like if you want a recipe for a blog post or a
Right.
sales letter or something. And so it's giving you kind of a still pretty loose, but a more prescriptive framework, which I think if you're a user that doesn't understand how this stuff works, I think it's better because now you're not like sitting here like I don't even know what to ask this thing. It's like having a genie with a
Yeah. Yeah.
thousand wishes. Like I don't know what to ask, and these AI tools just help kind of guide that thinking a little more.
Well, okay, so what about since we're talking about AI and the content that it generates, what are your thoughts on the recent kind of announcement that Google made about deterring searchability for AI generated content?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's smart of them. like, like I yeah, ultimately I think it's a losing battle, right? Like it's going to be this endless war of like Google's got to get better at detecting AI content, right? And then AI content is constantly be trying to like go and outmatch Google's, like we've seen this with SEO for, 2 decades. Like there's always people are always going to be trying to game the system. To a degree, you're always going to have this arms race. But I think it gets to a certain point where what if the AI content is producing meaningful, accurate, helpful results, why would you want to downrank that?
Sure.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and so like I don't know how Google's going to do that. But I think that the focus for Google, in my opinion, should be what's going to be the content that's going to deliver our users the most value. And if AI is only getting used to create endless garbage junk content that's not meaningful, well, yeah, let's de-rank that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. I think that Google there's so many moving parts when it comes to Google, right? So it's like they're always on their toes and they're always at least 10 steps ahead of us.
Right, totally. Yep.
As much as we can think in the philosophic way of what it's going to be and how it should be, it's like they've already thought of this, they've already worked through it. They're just waiting to implement, right?
That's right. They're playing a game 10 steps ahead of all of us.
I know.
And I think that's going to be interesting too, right? I've been reading a couple people say that, OpenAI has built Chat GPT in close partnership with Microsoft, and this idea well, maybe Microsoft is going to kind of make this a competitor to Google searching. And some people are like, Google's got to launch their version of this at some point in the future. And I'm sure at some point that's going to be the case. It definitely changes how search works for a lot of us when we can really get the exact thing we're looking for in this natural language response.
Well, and it's like TikTok and YouTube, how you think about how TikTok is disrupting the whole YouTube world, where the shorts are now coming into YouTube. And so how is Google responding to these new businesses that are popping up and, potential competitors, quote unquote, to the Goliath of internet and searchability. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, my little sisters are definitely looking I have a sister that's super into arts and crafts. She likes taking the spoons and turning them into rings.
Yeah.
She doesn't do a Google search to learn how to do that stuff. She goes and searches on TikTok, right? Which is so interesting to us marketers. Whoa, that's a shift, right? And I think you're right. I think that the ways people are wanting to access information are changing, and we're gonna need all the help AI can give us to keep up with all the different places we need content to be.
For sure. Well, so the content that you guys focus on at Storyy, is it based at or starting from video content, or tell me about how you guys get started in generating content?
Yeah, so the way it works is we have our users tell us what do they want to be known for. Maybe I want to be known for sales and entrepreneurship, and then I also want to be known for video games and travel and hiking. What are the things that I want to build a personal brand around, or my company's brand around?
Yeah.
And then based off those topics, we generate, using AI, suggestions of content to create based off of things that people are looking for online. And so we'll maybe give you an auto-generated outline, not a script, an outline of a YouTube or a TikTok or an Instagram reel video to make. And these outlines are built so that you can put your own personal experience on them. We can have the same user see the same prompt, but you'll get completely two different videos out of it because everyone's perspective and life experiences are a little different. And so people give us those raw clips, and then our video team, social media management teams, they take that content and actually turn it into unique, personalized content. You give us, information about your brand guides, your colors, all that.
Yeah.
And then what ends up coming out is truly unique content. So we're using AI to help the creators be better creators. But when we're actually creating, we're not relying on AI to do that. We're creating content that's going to really be unique and not the same as anyone else's.
So when you start with video, I'm sure that a lot of your clients coming in are hesitant because they don't want to be on video. They don't like the way they sound. They don't like the way they look. How do you overcome that with your clients and help them see the bigger picture of, making an impact over worrying about what they look like on camera?
Totally. So I started doing videos like this when I was working for a mortgage company, which is one of the most boring companies I could have possibly worked at, but it's good because it challenges you. And I was there and the way the mortgage company works is there's loan officers who basically work their own network of people to go and do home loans. And the way they got those businesses with these relationships, but they were all running these really stale ads that just were not converting. And so I went to a couple of them and was like, look, if you just record a video of just you on the camera, doesn't need to be pretty, doesn't need to be this whole production, and you just like share your knowledge, that ad is going to convert way better. And they did, and when I was filming with them, it was funny because I would tell them, go and record this. And they would just, I would be really loose. I'd just be like, just share a tip about mortgage. And they would freeze up. Like, I don't know what to say. And so I was like, okay, well, let me write you a script. So I'd write them a script, and then they'd go and record the video. And it'd be funny because you'd see in the recording, you'd watch their eyes move. And you're like, okay, this was supposed to feel authentic, but now this feels like so fake. And so I gave them an outline, because the outline was the perfect balance of feeling like they had a structure, like they weren't going to record something that made them sound stupid, but it wasn't also a word for word verbatim thing that they were regurgitating. And so that's really how we do it. Is we discovered there's this problem of people don't record video because they're worried that they're going to say something wrong. And that then feeds into this whole, like, I'm going to look dumb. I'm not going to I'm not going to sound great. It's not going to look nice. And so if we start by giving them a framework of what to record, we can do all the post-production that makes the video engaging and have all the effects and stuff. But it's really that authenticity and their message that if we help them bring out, they will be more likely to create content.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to make it an enjoyable process.
Right. It's got to be fun. And if it's so easy for us marketers to like go to someone and be like, hey, you got to be making video. And they're like, okay, cool. About what?
Yeah.
And so if you can help answer that question, a lot of that friction, I think, starts to go away, and it's easier for them to get in the practice.
Yeah. And, that makes me think of a podcast hosting, right? So a lot of people, when they first get started in podcasting, they think they have to have a script and bullet points. This is the question I'm going to ask after this and that. And that's, some structure that some people do have. But for me, I am more of this kind of free flow conversational type podcast where, I have a little guide. I have some, kind of bullet points and outline to give me. But really, when you listen and have a conversation, the outcome is so much more greater than having a script that you're trying to follow by. So when you're doing video, it's the same concept that, you have kind of an outline. These are my talking points. These are the things that I'm going to cover. But when you just say it naturally, based on what your prompts are, then the outcome is so much greater than what you would anticipate. So
absolutely. Yeah, you get it, because you've been podcast hosting.
now I'm like an expert, right?
That's right.
Well, let's shift into something that I think is important on the business side of things and personally, but let's talk about your purpose and your mission in your business, and how does that align with how you grow your business?
Yeah, so our purpose is to help people share their authentic message online. It's all about how do we make sure we're capturing that authentic feel, and everything we build is about making sure we're accomplishing that purpose. And our mission is to create a seamless content creation and syndication experience for our clients. And so, that's what we're working on right now, is building that out. And for us, we've got our core values that are kind of the way that the rules of the game. Like, those are the things that if we're going to accomplish our mission, our team's all playing by these ideas of candid communication, respect, craftsmanship, drive. It's all the things that we value in our coworkers, because for us, celebrating and talking about who we are as people on a regular basis better empowers us to go and help us do that for our clients.
Yeah. And talk about the correlation in your core values and how those align with your clients. Because I think there's a big conversation that's been happening a lot about knowing your internal core values, but also making sure that your clients align with those core values to make a better experience for the client-customer relationship.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of times candid, core values end up being these vinyl stickers on the wall that you the employee hears about them in onboarding, and then they're never talked about again.
Right.
And they are the beating heart of what we do. And candid communication is the first core value. because it's really foundational to how we operate. And candid communication is about saying what needs to be said, even when it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
And for our clients, a lot of them, they're putting content out there and it's not easy.
Yeah.
We have clients that are from are very different types of personalities. We've got clients that are like Cardone Ventures and that whole like hyper sales, like aggressive in your face, go, go, go kind of message. And then
Yeah.
we have other clients like Modern Millie, and she's doing social media coaching, and she's definitely a lot more like soft and real, and really emphasizes that on authenticity piece. But everyone's authentically themselves, right? And
Right.
so part of our core values is also respect, like recognizing that everyone has a bit of a different approach to business, to life, and we should be celebrating the best parts of those pieces and helping our clients communicate those pieces as well.
Yeah. Well, and so if somebody, wants to learn more about how they get started with you, what's the best place that they can start? What's the starting point?
Yeah, so they can go to storyy.co, story with two Y's, STORYY.co. They can sign up for the app. We offer a free video edit to anyone. So you can just register, send us some raw content off your phone, and we'll edit that for you and give you a really cool social media clip to share.
Awesome. And then any final words or quote that you like to leave us with?
Oh man. I think the only thing that I would say is there's a lot of I've felt on our team, especially because we have so many marketers and content creators, this like fear of AI, like, oh my gosh, my job's going to get replaced tomorrow. And I would hope that anyone that's in that boat of feeling this like, oh, my idea is going to get replaced by AI, my job's going to be threatened by AI. I think kind of like going back to like, remember to be authentic and adaptable as things change, because AI is only going to get better. And there may be parts of your job right now that AI can replace. And I think that recognizing and seeing those things now just means that you can focus on, well, what are the skills that AI can't replicate, or how can I be the best at applying these? I think being adaptable, I know we've had to adapt our business for it, and other businesses will have to adapt, but embracing the change rather than like fighting against it, I think is not just a good way to build a business, but it's a good way to build a career, a good way to build a life.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story. No pun intended. And, and it's been a pleasure to have you as a guest today. And, definitely check that out if you guys are interested in getting some content, free video generated by Storyy. You can visit them, download their app. And thank you again, Connor. It's been great talking to you.
Tori, thank you. It's been awesome.
Thanks so much for listening to the Creative Visionaries Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, or share with a friend. Also, make sure to visit us online at creativevisionariespodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And stay tuned for more episodes to come. And remember, it's time to tap into your true potential and unleash your inner visionary.